Hi Lola, hi. It's brilliant to chat to you about Rodeo and congratulations.
Thank you.
Your film obviously premiered at Cannes last year and we've been waiting since then to be able to see it here in the UK, and yeah, so pleased that we've got this chance to speak about it. Thank you. So I want to ask first about what was your own first entry into this world of motocross?
I came across this idea of this environment when I was still at school, which is a public school in Paris called La Fémis. I was in the last year, almost the last year, and I read an article and I saw a lot of videos of riders who were doing tricks, and I was super impressed. But this environment and this practice reminded me a lot what I could see when I was a child, because I grew up in the suburbs of Paris, and I would see a lot of dirt bikes, not a lot, but several one crossing the park in front of my building. But I didn't know that since this long time, from my childhood to the school, a lot of communities were created by passionate people. I was really interesting to see what it was, and I was really interesting to the idea of how you can create an alternative families. And so I asked one of the leader called back, and he invited me during the summer to go on that road, the training road, set apart from the town, a free road with more than 50 riders on it. And it was like a big rush. I could recognize myself a lot with this familiar environment. All this practice is so codified and so colorful, and so it's really aesthetic. So at first sight, you have this kind of really physical impression. And I never stop observing this practice. I went to this road again and again, like maybe twice a month during 8 years, almost 8 years. And I wrote the script of Rodeo, in this way. But the first entry, let's say, maybe it's the first short film I did with them, Dreaming of Baltimore. And then it was a key for me because I wrote the script, this short film script for them. And this film is quite naturalistic because I wanted to raise the question of like the meaning of the practice, how it is to lift the bikes, to gather, to share the passion, and yeah, what's the purpose of that, And so I wrote this short film, and the short film traveled a lot inside the community, the French bike life community. So it was a big step and stamp to go and to continue to develop all the relationship and to create all these confident links with these people. And I became kind of member of this community, doing a lot of photography as well, and several other projects. And so, yes, Rodeo, it's a mix of, it's a fiction, an epic fiction, but really mixed with my documentary approach, and also the connection, the super precious connection I've made in the community.
So you co-wrote the script for Rodeo with Antonia Baresi, who plays Ophelia.
Yeah.
But I know that you've said since that, to some extent, once the cameras start rolling, you have to be prepared to put that script to one side. You've said your expression
Yeah.
was that once the cameras start rolling, it's free jazz. So I wonder if you can talk a bit about that, about the idea of, you know, writing the script, but then to some extent letting it go.
Yeah, for me, the script is just a document to go through the garbage, you know. When you're on the stage, you have to put it on the garbage. It's rubbish, you know. Because the document, when you read it, you can project stereotypes, you can project fixed ideas, and you're, you know, the script, well, I shared the script with Antonia, of course, because she participated to the writings. I shared the script also to Julie Ledru, who plays Julia in the movie, because she has the leading role, and the script was really developed, and I adapted the role for her. So it was really important for me to be close to her and in kind of collaborating perspective, you know. But for the others, it was important for me not to give the script to them. So they were aware of what the film were about, for sure, because before shooting the movie, we gathered a lot, like just to do a lot of rehearsals, improvisation sessions, to look for the sequences. And during these sessions, I would speak a lot about the story, a lot, like in many layers, in many, like a mythological story, you know. Because oral form of speaking, it's really precious because it's a way to get the story with kind of everybody can connect with the story because it's not written. So everybody would interpret by their own, you know, mood and emotional atmosphere inside your body and inside your mind. So it was really important that, you know, the script is really written, really structured, but, you know, it's something that is transformed by many elements, and you have to play with that, and you have to, as a director, but I don't like this kind of term, director. It reminds me kind of market, you know, like directing things. I rather prefer to call myself a guide or a catalyst person, you know. And it was really kind of, you know, to play with the let it go, to play with the freedom of all the actors. But I was really obsessed by the tension and the rhythm and the emotional form of each sequences. So we had on the set, we had this kind of meeting, symbolical meeting inside the sequences. And we would maybe say, okay, let's improvise. So every actors, non-professional actors, knew their role because of this orality and because of this mythological way to express the story. And so they knew their character, and they were super independent on the set because of the trust and because they. And so it created this kind of collective atmosphere. Each character was super independent. And so I would say, okay, let's improvise, but okay, Ahmed, who plays Moose, you will be here when she speaks to you. And so, you know, it was a kind of choreography like that, super, yeah, like playing with let it go and a little bit of control. Yeah. But I think improvisation is good when you have a thought, a thread, really structured. And then if you have the spin, you can build everything, you know.
And tell me more about how you found your collaborators, how you found these actors or first-time actors. Julie Ledru, I know you found on Instagram, which feels like it's like the street casting of the modern age. And I guess for a lot of them, you were looking for people who could ride
Yeah.
and to some extent do their own stunts.
Yes, yes. It was important for me to put the energy of the bike life community and the energy of the practice and the truth on the center of the mise en scène. And so it was important to find actors who would practice and who would be involved in this cultural movement. And so Julie, I wrote this character for many years, and I dreamed a lot about this female character who is really precious for me. Because she's complex, she's not seductive, not polite, super irreverent, and she has a lot of anger, and she could be beautiful, but she could have this kind of childish way to think and to behave. I think we could be really touched by her because of this complexity. And so I had this draft of this character, which was a mix of, let's say, my background, mood and thoughts, and political struggles as well in terms of gender representation, for example, transfeminism, for example. So she was made of all of that. And then I met Julie on Instagram, and it was a kind of miracle because she took a lot of time to answer me, but when we set up the meeting, and it was like speaking for hours of everything: parents, loneliness, childhood, suburbs. She comes from a suburbs really close to mine, so we connected super naturally. And at the end of the meeting, I said to my girlfriend, who is Antonia Burezi, oh my God, she's a liar. She just lied to me to get the role, but because she told me so many stories from my movie. It was like, for me, a miracle because fiction met reality. Yeah. And so I wanted just to adapt a little bit the role for her, and then yes, and for the others, they are non-professional actors, except Antonia Burezi, who is a professional. But now they are all professional actors because it was like a big challenge for everyone on the set, and they worked a lot. Every characters on the set, every non-professional actors on the set are super far away from their role. So they had to work a lot to reach this emotional level.
So you speak so much about the kind of collective approach, about broadening. So much of this film is about freedom. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about that in relation to what this film is saying about gender, because mm-hmm. I feel like a very binary way to look at this film would be it's about a female character who enters a very masculine mm-hmm. environment. Mm-hmm. And we see many of those films, right? But this isn't that. It's so much more nuanced than that, because the character of Julia, obviously brings a real kind of freedom of expression, a very kind of agenda quality. And the depiction of the environment that she's in is so much more kind of, there's a lot of playing with different kinds of representations of masculinity within that. And then, of course, there's the queer love story, and there's the beginnings of a kind of formation of a queer family. And yeah, I wonder if you could talk about that in relation to this kind of theme throughout the film that seems to be about kind of freedom and freedom from a kind of entrapment.
Yes, I was at the beginning of the writing, I was obsessed. The main character changed. I changed the gender of the character a lot. At the beginning, it was a boy and after it was a girl, and after it was a boy, and it was a way to arise question about myself. And at this time, I was not aware of the concept of non-binarity, being a non-binary person. I discovered that because of this book, which was so amazing, which is really amazing, and it's written by this transsexual philosopher whose name is Paul B. Preciado, Spanish, but he speaks French, he speaks many languages because it's about crossing borders every time. So it was a first step in this kind of research. And for sure, I wanted to write a character who was close to me, and so because I developed a kind of deconstructive way of thinking the representations of gender and about stereotypes as well, gender stereotypes. For sure, it was not easy, but it was essential to give that and to feed the character with all of that. And so I wanted, for me, the main problem, apparently the problem of the film is the body of the character, because she doesn't have the same body of the others. If she would have the same body, they would have no fiction, you know. The fiction is brought because of this difference, and I think I'm really close to this character because I love to see world from my differences, and I think the queerness of the film is the fact that it's really like a kind of inner it's kind of gift given by the trans feminism. It's because identity, it's more complex. We are built with many layers of symbolical way to represent ourselves. There is no one identity, no two identities. It's like full of a lot of identifications. And so this female character is really connected to that. That's why she could perform masculine representation. She could perform as well a standard representation of feminine image. And she's in between all of that. But she's also in between, I used to say she's also in between the words, the world of life and the world of deads, between the ghosts and the reality, between the dreams and the reality. And she's a character who always crosses the lines of representation, but she doesn't want to be trapped in one definition, in one territory. That's why she is also in movement all the time, because she wants to escape the fixity approach. The beginning of the movie is really focused on following her, but it's really hard because she wants to escape the frame of the camera as well.
And I think that the actor, Julie Ledru, captures and embodies so much of that complexity so well. Lola, thank you so much for speaking with us. As I said, we've been waiting for this film, and it's thrilling and it's so interesting, and it's been amazing speaking to you about it, and we're so proud to be championing RODEO as part of Reclaim the Frame. Thank you.
Thank you, and it was glad to speak to you.